Hello everybody, I just wanted to quickly say that this video was already uploaded. I made it a few days ago, but I had to take it down because I had a Tourette's tick that was unedited and I forgot to edit it out, and that was embarrassing and I did not want that on a video. So if you guys could just watch the first couple of minutes of this again, and that's just mainly so it could get out to more people, because if YouTube sees you click on a video and then click right off, it really destroys its chance of getting to more people. So that would be really awesome. Otherwise, if you're new, thank you so much for watching. Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So today's upload, as you can tell, I'll be talking about who will see a white Christmas this year. I've done this video I think for the past 5 years, so those that have been on this channel for a very long time know that this is kind of a recurring thing I do each year, and this is completely for the fun of it. You know, a lot of people like to speculate, talk amongst themselves who will see a white Christmas, and I try to put a meteorological aspect on this, right? But in hindsight, based on other years, it's really hard to predict this type of stuff, and there's no real accurate prediction. We can't usually forecast more than 3 to 4 weeks out with the confidence, and this stuff is just pretty much for the fun of it. So please don't take this and look at your area and then come back in January and say this was bogus, because honestly I would not be surprised. So this is just for the fun of it. Okay, if you guys though do like these type of weather videos, I do, if you look at my channel, more weather related content, a bit more like specific forecasts, winter storms, right? But this is just one of those for fun videos. If you'd like to check out the channel, consider doing so. Feel free to subscribe if you would like, and liking the video always helps out a ton, since that is what drives this channel. So let's get into this. Obviously 2020 this year. So this year I have a confidence across a few areas and lesser confidence across more areas, but let's just get into this. So this is the temperature outlook for the weather channel. So obviously the first thing I want to look at is the temperatures, what they will look like for December. And we can't really get a December 25th outlook, right? That's just one day, but we can get a monthly outlook. And you can see that the weather channel actually went pretty cold. They usually don't go this chilly, especially so far out. But they're saying that December, if any months of this winter are going to be chilly, then December has the highest chance. And I would say that's fair. Out of the past La Nina years, we've seen a cold December usually seems to be the trend. Notice that they have near or slightly below average across the north central United States, dipping into the eastern United States. I don't know about this orientation of this cool weather. I think I disagree a bit, but at least they do have the mention of it. But again, they do have above average for much of the southwest, south, and into the northeast. But let's take a look at some other sources. So this is the temperature outlook for AccuWeather through December and February. So this isn't just December, but notice generally the cooler air is more centered towards the northwest and the northern United States. And this is what I agree with the most. I think that if December will be cold, which they're also assuming on here on AccuWeather that December will be the coldest month, which is fair. The past 3 La Niñas have seen that, but again, it's not just a La Niña versus El Niño that determines the winter. If it was, that would be really simple, but notice that they have cooler weather stretching into California, Nevada. I think based on past La Niñas that happened, that if the December is going to be cold, it's most likely going to be across these areas. They have it a bit more limited, but again, it's more of an average with some warmer months potentially. So again, I think these locations will be the coolest. Anywhere over here, it may be cool as well, but it's, the chances grow for a warmer setup. Again, that may be completely wrong, so please just, don't take this too hard. Let's take a glance now at the NOAA. So NOAA's 3-month outlook for temperature probability. This is through December, or November, December, January, so centered the most on December. You can see that they have really no mention of cooler air, but they have equal chances. So they're saying this definitely may go cooler, but it also may go warmer. But what they're also saying is that they have the least confidence in this area, so they have the most, so in that, this has the highest chance of being below average. And definitely that seems to be the trend. It's not the southeast that's the warmest, the southwest, or the northeast. It's really the northwest and northern United States. And I think that's going to be the trend. Now let's start taking a look at what La Nina usually does to the U.S. winter, right? So we looked at some forecasts of NOAA, AccuWeather, and Weather Channel that are based off the La Nina that is in play. But let's just take a look at historically what a La Nina does without this year's prediction. So you can see that really the cold and wet weather is centered across the north and northwest, as far as, Minnesota right there. And again, the question is, how far does this cold air extend? Because in certain La Nina years, Sometimes, depending on the strength of the high pressure, the jet stream, this cold air really doesn't make its way far inland. And on other years, it could make its way much further inland, right? And the trend has been for the last 3 La Nina years that it hasn't really made its way that far in. Again, at times it obviously did, but overall it stayed more centered towards the north and west. Will this year be like that? I don't know, and unfortunately that's the question that we'd love to answer, but we just can't. Maybe someone can, but I can't because I'm just not that smart. But notice that if we look across the south, there's a trend towards warmer and drier conditions. Now again, this isn't the case every year, and this is for the whole winter. During December, the warm air is more limited, the cool air is more abundant. And that has seemed to be the case for the past, decade. So we'll have to see. But again, it's this La Nina pattern holds with all the AccuWeather forecasts and Weather Channel forecasts I showed you. Let's take a glance now at what historically happened. So this is basically a ENSO website, or a Climate Prediction Center website, right? And it based off, it's a big cutoff there, but November, December, January, La Nina temperature anomalies. So this is for the whole kind of time frame of November, December, January. Unfortunately, I couldn't just do 1 month on here, but it also shows a frequency of occurrence, so kind of like the confidence, I guess. Notice that there again, the cold air, if anywhere, is centered across the north and the northwest, and the warm air, if anywhere, is centered across Texas, Louisiana, a bit of the south, patchy into the southwest, but again, that just shows how variable it could be, right? Notice this is the frequency. Really, they have more confidence in it being warm than it being cool based on previous years. It has occurred more frequently, of being warmer consistently across the south versus cooler consistently across the north. But when it does occur pretty, when the cool temperatures do occur, they do occur pretty drastically. And notice this is the trend for just in general, and you can see it's kind of all over the place. And I think what's important to know with this winter, just a little side note here, kind of steering away from just this Christmas time frame, right? I think it will be important to note that this winter, while it may not necessarily be cold, the amount of precipitation falling across the north may kind of make up for that, because with an abundant amount of rain and precip falling, it often overlaps with the cold air, which isn't always available, but when it is available and the rain is available, the precip, then it could snow. And that has been a trend since 1999. Was a very similar year. We had the fall was very long, warm, similar to what we have this year. And the winter, while it wasn't really cold, it was snowy, and that's what this year may be. It may be more of a snowy rather than cold winter, which we'll have to see about. Again, that isn't always the case. And then this is, again, the temperatures. But if you were to look at the snowfall frequency of the same time frame, November, December, January, again, especially centered across the December time frame. Okay, so again, this isn't as specific as I'd like it to be, but generally you could see that the Great Lakes and portions of even the Northeast are above average historically. But really, then the West and Northwest is just astronomically above average. And that seems to be the case, especially if you look at all the outlooks. Cold, right? They have a greatest mention of cool weather across the Northwest, which I think is underdone significantly. But they do have it across those locations in Northwest. So does AccuWeather. Weather Channel's a bit different, but still, it's not significantly above average. But generally, you can see that I think the Northwest will have a highest, possibly even locations that don't often see a white Christmas, like a 25 to 30% chance, may have like a 70 to 80 this year. I'm not even joking, because the amount of snow we've seen that has been already falling under warm conditions is abundant. The precip is abundant, and as soon as we just get a bit more cooler air mixed in there, the snow could really spread just from the higher elevations into even the lower end, some low elevations that typically don't see snow. And notice that they do have a bit of dryness across the plains, right? Again, that's if I were to look at the November frequency of snow for this year, or for La Niñas, it would also show similar dryness across the upper plains. But again, for this year, that didn't apply. We saw quite a bit of snow across these locations, quite a bit of early snow. It wasn't really significantly above average, but it definitely wasn't significantly below average. So again, it varies based on years. This is based off, I think, 15 years or even more. There's a set copy that we could just go off of and predict each winter. That would be awesome, but unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be the case. Or unfortunately, that's not possible. And again, this is a bit of a toss-up. Notice that the frequency is pretty confident, especially across the northwest. They are confident about some drier weather, though, especially across the panhandles. Again, that really hasn't been the case this year, as some of these locations have gotten historic amounts of snow. So again, all it takes is one system, one snowstorm, and it sets off the whole thing. And it gets a bit less confident across the east. But again, this is just a complete forecast that it could be wrong on so many levels, because not only can the temperatures, not only is predicting temperatures hard and being a below average, it could be cold across the northern United States and snowy, but will it be cold enough to produce an inch of snow across a certain amount of areas, which would obviously qualify it as a white Christmas on the 25th. There needs to be at least 1 inch of snow. And the December could be snowy, but then from the 23rd to the 27th, there could be a large storm system across southern Canada that brings up warm temperatures all the way into Minnesota and Wisconsin, and our white Christmas is destroyed, even though our temperatures were correct. So this is merely a complete speculation. So please, please, please don't take this too seriously, because I'm not confident in this at all. But the only area that I would say has a higher than likely chance is the Northwest. Anything else, the confidence just skyrockets downwards. Notice, I just want to look at some anomalies quickly. So based on previous years that were similar to this La Nina year, this winter, this summer, and this spring, and what the Decembers looked like for those years. So basically, years in the past that were similar to this year's. December 2010, you could see it was warmer across the southwest, but similar to what the Weather Channel is showing. Some cooler temperatures across the central United States, but it extends it a bit further here. Notice there's a lot of white, right? But that's, that's assuming that it's not also above average. So that would definitely still keep the chances relatively close to average, if not a bit above average, since we see those blue spots. And again, all it takes is a couple of days of extreme anomalies to upset it. We would actually have to take a look at the daily temperatures, which unfortunately would be a bit too hassle. But again, you could see we do have a bit of cooler air across December 2010, which was a similar year. Another similar year was 2007. I think that was it. Let's just wait for 2007. You could see that it was quite different, right? It was warmer across the southeast and southern United States, cooler across the southwest and west, and a bit of everything across the northern United States. Some pockets of warmth, a bit of cool weather up here as well. And by the way, this forecast that I made at the end is just for the United States, because I don't have, unfortunately, access to the maps that would include Canada, and I wouldn't be able to fill them in, but I will talk about Canada as well. So this is December 2007, December 2005. You could see even different. This year, the December 2006 winter was a warm winter overall, and December was the coolest month. And that, again, holds a trend as to what they were saying across the Weather Channel. Notice, way above average temperatures here, which is not typical of a La Nina. This one kind of stands out the most. Still shows a decent amount of cool air, right? But it definitely is the most weird. You can see this one shows cool air across the west and northwest. So does this one. This one really just stands out. And then this is the 1995 one, which was probably the most coldest example I could find that was still relatively recent. And notice, very, very chilly, very cold, and then also southwest, very warm. So again, for the northwest, this scenario wouldn't be good. But by the looks of it, 1995 doesn't look too comparable to this year that we have so far. But again, that could change. So this is what I base my white Christmas forecast off of. These are the probabilities of white Christmas historically, and typically a city like Chicago, for example, is around 41 to 50%. A city like Boston is about, I think, well, depends. The coastal areas anywhere from 20 to 40%. A bit further inland, Worcester, probably 60 to 70. Then you can see areas like Minnesota and northern Wisconsin almost always see a white Christmas, and I don't think that will change this year. Let's take a look now at my forecast. So this is what my forecast is, and let me go color by color, since this looks like a whole mess, and it might look like that, but let's take a look at this. So this red color, this darkest red color you see here, I think we'll be seeing at least an 80% chance of a white Christmas. And you may be looking at the west and being like, whoa, that is quite a bit. Almost all of Idaho seeing an 80% chance of a Christmas. Again, I do think that will be the case if the trend continues what we're seeing now. the West has been pummeled by precipitation. December, being possibly the coolest month of this winter, would allow for a lot of snow to fall, even across areas that typically don't see snow at all throughout the whole winter. And that's why I think I have the very highest of confidence across the Northwest. And anything south of here that really, it catches up to normal, if not below normal, compared to, the percentages of likelihood. So again, 80% chance of likelihood or higher. In this pinkish color, I would say around 75 to 85%, or sorry, 60 to 65 to 80%. And again, you can see at a lot of these locations here, it really starts minimizing. I expanded it across the west, much of Montana, Wyoming, right, more than usual. But then across the plains, I kind of brought it to normal because I'm not confident about these areas. And in fact, the Northeast, I think, may have a slightly lower chance of seeing a white Christmas this year. Again, that may be wrong completely. So again, you can see that the Northwest I have the highest confidence in, 80 plus percent in that red, in the pink 65 plus percent, and then anywhere in that purple I would say it starts reaching around that 50% mark. It's still higher across much of these locations. Some of these locations see a 20% chance of seeing a white Christmas that are in the 70% chance for this year, and I think that's accurate, or hopefully will be accurate. I have the most confidence in that area. I think the Northwest will be seeing much more white Christmas. Much more people will be seeing a white Christmas this year across the Northwest and the West in general. Even maybe cities like Seattle. I'm not completely excluding that because of how cold it may be and how much precip they would be seeing. And obviously, I just want to point out that in terms of the mountains and the higher elevations, there's obviously a few areas in here that typically see snow that may be in this white. Unfortunately, I couldn't make too much of a detailed map, so please bear with me and understand that if you typically see snow in a higher elevation in Arizona or New Mexico, you most likely will. And that's just what I want to say. If you typically, and I'll show you another graphic that I made in just a second. But again, 50% and above in this purple. In this blue color, I would say 40% and above. And it did not. I only included 10% because I feel like it starts again the west. Basically, I think a lot of it will be higher confidence. So that 40% and above really is going to be just a few additional areas. And then here you can see it's a huge area. This could honestly be cut in half or even expanded depending on how that sets up. Again, how abundant of that cold air is present, whether it's a 1995 winter or a 2005 winter where it's just chilly across these locations. So here I would say it's around average. Anywhere in that blue, especially across the Midwest, expect a average white Christmas chance. And in that light blue, I would say 25% chance or higher, 25 to 40%. Not higher, but 25 to 40% chance. So depending on where you live, there may be a bit higher, a bit lower. It kind of starts averaging out from that good start, from that above average start to kind of an average to below average in that green. I think that this is where the extent of it will be. I think here we'll start seeing some warmer conditions, and these locations most likely won't be seeing a greater chance. Here I think I did 10 to 25% chance. So it's a wide range, right? But unfortunately, that's what the forecast gives us. And in these locations, I don't think they will be seeing a white Christmas. And obviously, if you live across the mountains, say at Southern California, and you see usually a white Christmas, you will. Except I couldn't just make that detailed of a forecast. Now, I do also want to say that for Canada, a lot of my Canadian viewers are on here as well. I won't forget about you. For, say, the Northeast, the large cities lined up across Canada here, I think that many of you will be seeing similar chances to the Northeast. Around average, maybe a bit below average. I don't think it looks too promising for you guys across southern Canada. As you move further to the west, maybe Ontario and into Manitoba, I would say that the chances definitely increase. So if you typically see a 70% chance of a white Christmas, this year I think you'll have closer to like an 80. But again, I think it's a bit silly to give Canada a white Christmas forecast, especially across just north of the Great Lakes or north of Montana, because they usually see a white Christmas similar to Minnesota. It's really these cities right here that sometimes don't, sometimes do. And again, as I mentioned, any Canadians that live in this area, I would say around average, if not a bit below average. And of course, that below or above average refers to the average probability that you've been historically seeing. And then across the northwest, I think, southwestern Canada, which is cut off by this map, anywhere really north of North Dakota, kind of stretching in that slope all the way to Alaska, you will be in for a pretty high chance of a white Christmas. So hopefully that helps out a lot. And let's take a look at this last graphic I have here. This is basically what I kind of wanted to show in terms of above average or below average chance based on historical probabilities. So if you live in these blue areas, I think you have a higher than normal chance of seeing a white Christmas. In these white areas, I think it's around normal, depending on how the La Nina sets up. And then if you look across the south, this will be below average chances. And obviously now you may look at Florida and Texas and be like, why did you highlight them? They don't usually see a white Christmas. I know, but this map is, you fill in whole states, so I just want to show you, if in southern Alabama you may have seen a white Christmas before, don't expect one this year either. Or don't expect one this year. And if, northern Texas does see some white Christmases, so they may, depending on how the La Nina folds out. But southern Texas, the coastal areas, they most often don't, and this year looks warmer for them. So it's unfortunately a bit specific, especially when the rain or the cold warm line runs through the whole state. So Alaska, notice, is also in the blue because of the La Nina pattern bringing much cooler temperatures. Hawaii, unfortunately, doesn't see that much snow, maybe the higher elevations, and I don't know enough of that climate. It's kind of a different climate, so I didn't really want to make a forecast. But hopefully you enjoyed, hopefully you learned something new, and I'll catch you all guys in the next episode. See ya. Bye.